happy after a loss, and he's one of those players, when he loses, he can lose a couple of them in a row.
Oh yeah, he can go on tilt very easily. C4.
C6 and transposing into some kind of Slav.
Ready, perhaps. Here we go.
D4.
And it has transposed into a Slav with B2, B3. And this is where I was saying Bishop B4, really, when Michael Taw played it against me, it threw me off. I just
They're still repeating their game from the Rapid, right?
Exactly.
It's not even some game from the Rapid. It's
their game.
The game between them two in the Rapid.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, essentially against Misha in these moments, I was playing for Queen C2 and E3, E4. Peter, speak to the move Bishop D3 to C2.
We're fighting against E5. The reason is, if you have time to show it, now after E5 we can take twice and play knight takes D5. Exactly the same little tactic that they played in the game. First to take on E5. Take on E5 twice. Yeah. And now knight D5. And the difference is, with the bishop on C2, you will not be able to avoid in this isolani in the end. Knight D5, CD5, bishop D2, queen D2. And the queen actually reaches D5. So you will because there's no bishop in front of it. So you will have to end up with an isolani, which honestly is a defensible endgame, but nobody wants to do that.
Exactly.
Well, Hikaru played rook D8.
Rook to D8. I
keep on trying to remember what that Aronian-Carlsen game was. I have a feeling we're very close to it, but I don't know how to look it up.
Here, once again,
the time we have.
I feel prepping E5 now.
Yeah, I feel the only play for me as white is to play for E3, E4. Therefore, the move Queen E1 I find a little bit attractive, because what I want to do is, when you're not watching, I want to thieve a pawn in daylight robbery.
What do you think about this move A3? It's like a pawn sacrifice?
This is what Levon has done in some position against Magnus, but maybe not in this one. And the engine clearly disagrees. But the idea exists, because then you can try and lock out the queen on A3. I'm pretty sure the idea is to just give up not only the pawn, but the exchange if it gets taken. Otherwise, I don't see much point in playing A3. I think the idea is bishop A3, rook A3, queen A3, and then perhaps C5.
Wow.
And ask black, are you sure this queen returns? Are you willing to bet that it comes back home?
I feel I have knight takes C5 and B7, B6, what you've just suggested, as a way of ensuring the return. Knight takes C5 would be 3 pawns.
Well, after knight B1, I might include knight B1 and then not give you that pawn. Let's see what Jan does, because he has played A3 and... Yeah, if you don't follow it up with something concrete, there we go. Yeah, rook A3, queen A3, and either C5 or B4, I guess C5, yeah.
And the point that you were about to make, Peter, is I was about to say I could bail out with knight C5, D5.
I'm starting with knight B1,
C5, but your interference move, knight B1, intermezzo if you prefer, means that you don't get 3 pawns. But now, see, you had made a very good point yourself. B7, B6. Let's get out.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how exactly we're going to go about the important business of capturing that queen.
B6 is on the board.
And Hikaru asks
your question. But I see a question mark.
Oh, no. But it looks so natural.
Knight B1, queen A2, queen C1, and the queen actually starts running out of squares. No, this is a serious idea.
Ooh, B4.
Well, he's played B4, which is not as strong. It's a second best move, but it's not the strongest.
Now I've got more room, more leg room, as Delta Airlines likes to inform me.
So just to tell the audience, on queen B4, white's preparing knight takes D5?
It would appear so.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Best move here by far is knight E4. Black needs to start offloading things off the board, because the queen is in desperate trouble. If you give white a move here, you will, something will come up.
But why not B6 takes C5, Peter, in order to open up the B file and give my...
You've actually lost the queen to knight B1, bishop B3, bishop C3.
Queen B4 on the board.
Queen B4.
Hikaru does not trust Nepo's knight D5.
But then knight B5, knight E7 check, and then, black is in trouble here. Queen B4 is not a good choice.
E7 check, and knight takes C6.
Yeah, first of all, you need to choose a square.
Where does the queen go? Queen C4? B5? Well, I don't want to go to B5, so queen C4?
Queen C4, bishop
I wanted queen D3 and run away.
But are you running away? Maybe you are. I'll be darned.
Now the queen, judging by the evaluation, the queen doesn't get caught, but white picks up a lot of material while chasing it around. So let's say you play
Queen c4.
Queen c4, I give a check on e7, I play bishop b3.
And then we were going to go to d3 with the
I'll
queen.
probably throw in knight takes c6.
And then I have to go to
Rook e8, I guess, and depending on where the king went, either knight e5 could be very strong. If the king went to f8, c takes b6 followed by bishop b4 check would be a bit of an issue.
Going backward.
So no, this is very, very tricky for.
Well, what an
Black now.
inspired exchange sacrifice this has been. And like you said, Peter, it's something that you had noted in a previous game, and you promised.
It's quite thematic in this
up.
line. So I'm not surprised Jan is doing it. I'm a bit surprised it seems to have taken Hikaru by surprise.
Okay, here I do like the move bishop b3 because it basically says you do have to go to d3. You don't really want to go to b5 and allow knight to
have full
c7.
rook.
Yes.
It's not even an exchange, it's a full rook.
It's a full rook. So bishop b3 might be the most precise. We're not worried about precision. We're worried about good moves. What
No, you allow. Yeah, I was wondering why it wasn't doing that. You do not want to be allowing queen takes f1 and eg5.
Ah.
Not queen takes d5, but queen takes f1.
One.
So yeah, I think starting with knight e7 is more precise.
Maybe, wow. Nice, good point. Lovely,
Yeah.
Peter. By the
King
way,
went
clock
to
times?
h8, so
h8 is not great.
Nepo has 2 minutes and 45 seconds against 2 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, so
now
we start by playing bishop b3 here.
this whole idea, what Peter was mentioning, with the knight on c6 and with the king on h8, the f7 pawn is tender. So knight c6 and knight e5. First, Peter
But
likes
it very much likes starting with bishop b3, and this is what Jan has done, right?
Exactly. he
Now
did.
if queen d3, we take on f6, and it's bad, so queen b5. But after queen b5, queen c2 is very strong, continuing to prepare to chase the queen, creating ideas of
Wow.
bishop c4, bishop
Queen
a4.
c2, just a quiet move in a way.
Exactly, but bishop a4, bishop c4,
It has
those
deadly
are
threats, yes.
those are queen,
Queen
d3.
went to d3, so now knight c6 seems to be winning. But a quick update, Firouzja seems to be winning his game against Wesley. So
Wesley made a massive mistake in a quietish position and is now in a lot of trouble.
Well, as you heard in the interview with Anastasia, Firouzja says, all I've got to do is win both tournaments and I can be Grand Chess Star champion again. And I like it. He
yeah,
said,
that's all he has to do.
I like playing here. And I can understand
He has
why.
a good chance.
Rook f8, in anticipation of the knight coming to e5, Hikaru fortifies the f7 pawn.
But I see this bishop c2 move got a question mark. Maybe some missed opportunity for Nepo.
Well, he is trying to play a tempo, but the engine is suggesting he could have just played knight ce5 and then simply c5, c6, switching to sort of positional play. We're no longer trying to win that queen or do anything by force. We're just establishing this foothold with a passer on c6 and saying, for just an exchange, it's a tremendous amount of compensation. And now he basically has to take a draw. Bishop c4, bishop c2 was a massive let-off for Hikaru.
I think
you can still sort of chase the queen forever. You can play bishop c1 here and continue chasing it until the cows come home. But you no longer
that
really
was a
have any.
reprieve.
Yeah, because I think it was very important to use an opportunity to move the knight away from c6 with a tempo and then play c6. And now the queen will never be on a square where this is available to us as white.
This is what
Yeah,
Peter
knight
is
e5,
saying,
we
knight
take,
e4.
and wherever the queen goes, and it probably has to go to the king side.
Let's go to the king side. Let's move it all.
Yeah,
the
and
way
we just
back.
play c5, c6 here. Yes, we're down in exchange, but black. Just look at the black pieces.
Not coordinated.
Can't really move.
Instead,
Not coordinated and kind of foreign.
Hikaru took the opportunity not to allow the
Queen
knight to
c3 is not great for. And Jan immediately spots the option. He goes queen e2, creating the idea of bishop b2. And now he is once again better if he goes bishop b2, bishop a6, bishop b5, takes, and then c takes b6 in the end. And the pawn gets to b7. Black might survive it, but white clearly, with the pawn on b7, white will be the happier of
He's done
the
it.
two players. Yeah, he'll have to play bishop b5, no choice. So both of them are more or less locked into that sequence. Takes, c2 only square. C takes b6 really only move. What else do you do? Rook c. I mean, you could include rook c1, but I don't.
He's included
No,
queen
but that allows
f5.
But that allows queen f5. Yeah, that's a mistake.
Oh no! He had
And
this.
no more
He had
c6
worked
queen.
so beautifully. He could have played c5. Oh no, he could have.
He has
called.
knight c5, knight e7. Yeah, This
Knight-
is going.
Queen
This is
remains
going
on the
slightly off
fifth.
the rails. Actually, knight c5 was still a decent choice, but
Wow. Knight e5. Oh,
That's a,
okay. Now he's in a lot of trouble. For a very specific reason, though. Knight
I don't know
e5,
what
d5,
happened.
knight e4.
The players
C takes
were-
b6, queen h4, hitting both e7 and f2.
players were laughing.
so
I don't know what happened.
Knight takes e5. Knight.
Knight g8
oh,
is not the move.
Knight e4 with the idea of queen h4 could have easily turned the tables.
That was just
for
winning
Hikaru.
Black, right on the spot.
Oh, but look what Hikaru has done instead. He said, your
Knight
knight's
takes g8
trapped.
was a miss. Shockingly, white should have just let the knight on e7 hang and
Now
gone
rook b8
cb and
and
b7.
bishop's just hanging, right?
Right, but hold on, which rook? Because if you
F
use,
is stronger.
if you
F is
use
stronger.
the A rook, I've got
He's
knight
saying
g6
at the
check at the end. He's done it. And look at this.
Oh, he got,
Oh,
This is winning. Yeah.
clock
Hikaru
runs
actually
through.
found a very, very beautiful
They've got
sequence there.
plenty of time. 30 seconds against 49 seconds. I mean, for Blitz, this is a lot.
This is a lot of time. Plenty of time. Easy peasy, you say. Queen. Oh, but these are incredible moves to find. And Queen G5 says your knight's trapped. In the
There's
middle,
nothing we can
in the
do.
middle of
We
the
have
center
to
of the
defend
board.
it with the queen, but then we're leaving the bishop on b2.
He's trying to sell his knight dearly. He's played in the move knight d5. We can't take the bishop
the
because
knight.
a8 is hanging. So now is it the
Oh, the
a
A
pawn express?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
9 seconds for Nepo now.
This invites rook c8 and invites a4. Uh-oh. How much time did you say?
8 seconds for Nepo right now.
Oh, this is a very good move. You're eyeballing queen b1. And
I don't know what
Nepo-
e6 is supposed to achieve.
By the way, an update, MVL won his game against Notterbeck.
Ooh. By the way, I don't think e5, e6 helped one single little bit.
Yeah, this is very easy to convert.
Easy
The a pawn will
conversion.
just cost us a bishop. Yeah.
Exactly. a3, a2, rook b1.
Yeah, not blundering rook takes h6 either. Yeah, it doesn't really matter all that much, but
I don't think he wants to give up.
I'm not sure what
More pawns than he
the
has.
gesturing there means, but there was some gesturing going on. And rook takes d4 now. Yeah, very clean.
Nicely done, as Hikaru turned the tables on what looked like a very